era, in my opinion, was between 2006, when the second generation Prius popped off, to 2015, when EVs started becoming popular and hybrids were commonplace and household name. Now, we are excluding car companies like Honda and Toyota because they started this hybrid revolution, right? We are looking at other car companies' reactions to it. I know it certainly blew Ford out of the water. I knew Volvo had no idea what they were going to do. I knew several car companies that had outrageous reactions to this, right? So we are just going to look at some of the, let's call them interesting byproducts of this era, right? Because there were a lot. There were a lot of really interesting cars that came out in this period from car companies that didn't know how to build hybrids and were worried. They were like, oh no, like we need to get something out now, right? Rushed projects, that's what we're talking about, right? So first, let's do Lexus. I know I said I wouldn't do Toyota, but yeah. Lexus is different from Toyota. The Lexus team saw hybrids as a gimmick, right? And then they're like, oh crap, we gotta get a hybrid. We gotta get one right now. It's popping off. Get a hybrid. Make one right now. Right? What is this, Chin? What? Lexus, what is this? So, the Toyota Prius was an iconic car. The Lexus HS isn't even remembered by Lexus. That's right, Lexus. Most of the people that were around when this thing was made is going to be like, what? We never made an HS. What? We never made that car. Is that a deep fake? This car is so generic, even Lexus doesn't remember it. Just the Lexus rims that no one liked. It being shaped like a Corolla and a hybrid Camry, which was already better by this time. You know, it was an car. And this interior. Who greenlit this? Who thought, yeah, let's cover it in leather. Let's make it silver. And let's give it our shitty infotainment system and give it the Chinese. That shifter is smaller than the Prius one. Like, eventually they settled in with the CT, but you've got to see this. First of all, that is completely uncentered. This armrest is way too far back. And B, why didn't they just make it flow like the Toyota Prius? Does it really have to be that much different, Lexus? Yeah, so Lexus had a horrible reaction. I actually think these wheels are beautiful. I think this is a beautiful car. I hate the interior. I hate it. I hate the interior. I hate it. So next, we're going to get to Volvo. How did Volvo react? Well, now, these cars were a long time coming, so I'm not going to claim it of the hybrid era, but I'm going to claim it of the hybrid era. Volvo needed something that looked like a hybrid that wasn't a hybrid. Volvo wanted something that looked like a hybrid, wasn't a hybrid, but the gas mileage could stand for itself. So we got the, what I like to call, fun type of cars, like Baja Blast, like fun. We got the 2006 Volvo S40, the 2006 Volvo V50, and my personal favorite, right? You'll notice this is why I call it the fun type of cars, right? Because they all go up in size, right? They all go up, right? So we have the Volvo S40, and then below the Volvo S40 is the Volvo C30, which stuck around way past its time. Now, these cars look like normal cars, right? They all look fine, right? First of all, there's one wheel on this car that's going to cement them in place. First of all, Volvo is a luxury brand. Ford knew that Volvo is a luxury brand. Let's say Volvo was the mechanic who married someone very exotic, you know, someone very nice. And Ford was like, oh, no, I'm just a mechanic. How am I going to be nice, right? So they really tried with Volvo to lay Volvo in their hands, like, okay, we need you to make money now. You know, like, Ford was very delicate with Volvo. They didn't want to F this off. You know, Mercury was already going down the toilet. They needed Volvo to be a success, right? And so, Volvo had no interest in the Ford Focus, right? I know I horribly misspelled that. Ford 2006. Yeah, this car is anti-Volvo. This is like everything that Volvo didn't like about Ford cars. They're ugly, they're cheap, and they're ugly. You know, like the US version, hideous car, an ugly car. Volvo wanted absolutely zero, nada, to do with this car until the hybrid era. See, your Volvo, we need a car that looks like a hybrid but isn't a hybrid, and we need a small Ford frame that they'll let us borrow to the Focus, right? It even comes in a wagon variant. That's perfect. And so with that, guess what? We initially got the S40, right? Then we got the V50 and the C30. There's one wheel that unites all these vehicles that screams early hybrid. And it's ugly. Now, you may notice in my 3 car companies that copied each other video, which you definitely should go watch. Yeah. So here are these wheels on a Volvo, not V40, it's V50, on a Volvo V50, on a Volvo V40, and on a Volvo, and on a Volvo C30. These wheels were the wheels which Volvo thought, hey, they're aerodynamic. It'll make the buyer think it's a hybrid. And we don't actually have to develop our own hybrid system. It wasn't until after Ford that they got a hybrid. They got Polestar. Polestar was like, well, you know, we're kind of an EV company, and you're kind of don't even have a hybrid, so, hey, would you like the Volvo V50 Polestar? I mean, V60 Polestar? And Volvo was like, oh yeah, we would love the V60 Polestar. But these wheels were Volvo's reaction to the hybrid era. They didn't have the technology. Ford wouldn't give them the leeway to make a hybrid. So this is just kind of what they did. Speaking of Ford, let's look at what Ford did during this era. Because Ford was trembling. Now, I believe, yeah, there was a Ford Fusion hybrid. Yeah. So, first of all, they did the Ford Fusion. Now, you may wonder, what does the Fusion have to do with this? In fact, if we roll back to 2005, the Fusion still looks kind of similar, right? If we roll back to 2006, we can definitely see that they gave it kind of a slight facelift. But if we go back to 2004, right, we jump back, we can see this is what the Ford Fusion looked like. They didn't even have the Ford Fusion. 2005, any Fusion here? Kind of. There were rumors of it. It was only until 2006 that we got the Ford Fusion, which means the Ford Fusion was indeed a reaction to the hybrid era. Now you may say, what does this car have to do anything with hybrids? It's called the Ford Fusion. Oh, regular car reviews, RCR, nice. Take him to Australia, woo! Yeah, it's literally called the Ford Fusion and designed like this, specifically A, to rip off a Lexus HS, which wasn't even in the making yet, and B, to look like a hybrid. See, it has these weird grills that don't look like grills. Like, you know, it has this grill that doesn't look like it's supposed to be a grill. It looks like a hybrid, so that buyers would think it was a hybrid. And it has this kind of quirky interior to make buyers think it was a hybrid, right? The entire point of the Ford Fusion was to make the buyer think of Fusion, like a hybrid, right? The entire point of the Ford Fusion, they didn't bring this back just to have another SUV. They brought this back conveniently so that it could be like a nice car for the people who wanted it. And guess what? Their secret hybrid, not a hybrid. Your secret's safe with me. This was hybrid's reaction, right? And then, excuse me, geez, rude. And then usually, like Ford always does, they came in heads first. Instead of cowering away and be like, oh, we have the Ford Fusion, but, you know, they came out with the Ford C-Max and they're like, Toyota, we made this car, you made the Prius. No, I imagine the Ford C-Max, right, as like the CEO storming into a bar, who made the Prius V? Pointing at him, be like, we made the C-Max, now watch me dance. You know what I mean? That's, wow, I said RCR and now I'm, wow. Even that powerful word is enough to get me into a frenzy. So yeah, this was literally, yeah, Ford tried to hit them head on, and yet it hit themselves head on. And it also spawned this era of just weird looking cars that were ugly on the inside. Like, the C-Max would have been a good competitor if it wasn't hideous, you know? So Ford tried to hit Toyota head-on. Instead, they got in a head-on collision with other hybrids and failed. So yeah, that was Ford's reaction. Immediately panicking, making the Fusion, then making the C-Max, and then regretting making the C-Max. That was kind of Ford, right? Yeah, that's always kind of been Ford. Next, we have GM. GM. Now, the Chevrolet Volt was definitely not a product of this era. Right? You have to admit, Chevrolet needed a hybrid. And I give credit to GM for not just crapping out a hybrid, right? They did their work and made the Volt. A car that even I like, and I hate GM. Like, I hate GM. And the Volt was a good car, right? So, they made this specifically, like, with this art, this design and everything. They made this as a response to the hybrid era. They were like, hey, we need a hybrid of our own, and Ford is going and making their own hybrid, so we need to make something better than Ford. We need to beat the other Americans, right? We need to. So they came out with this. The interior wasn't bad. It was a very good car, very hideous interior. This was GM's response, and then later they were like, you want to know what? We finally did it. We're going to make an EV. Oh crap. EV1's back again. We're going to beat all the other hybrids. We're going to be an EV, and they were too late. They were way too late. They came out with the Volt when no one wanted the Volt. Yeah. That's GM. So late to the party that they don't even own the house anymore. You know, I mean, that's just kind of GM. That's like, isn't that just what they do, you know? Next, we're doing Kia and Hyundai's response. Now, Hyundai's, of course, response, they were just trying to get into America and be like, hey, we're in America now. They were trying to assert themselves as a brand, and then this happened. And when all the other car companies around you are collapsing, trying to make a hybrid, quick, make a hybrid. I don't even care if it's the same as the Prius. Just copy and paste and put a damn GM badge on it. Hyundai was like, wait, what the you know, they had just assimilated into the U.S. They had just proved themselves as a kind of okay, cheap brand. And like, crap, right? So I imagine it like this, right? There was an elevator going up to the top floor, right? Hyundai's holding their briefcase in front of them. They're like, I'm going to get to meet all the other car companies. They open up the door. All of them are running from side to all the other car companies are running from side to side, and they drop the briefcase and the papers fall over the floor. Like, Hyundai had no idea what to do. So they came out with a copy of the Volvo wheels and a mediocre hybrid that no one wanted. They had a hybrid. I'll give that to them. They indeed did have a hybrid with a hideous steering wheel. They had a hybrid. They did. Before a lot of other companies should scramble, pick everything up, throw the rocks across the glass window. They had a hybrid before everyone else. Hyundai actually had a tame thing, other than stealing Volvo's wheels, which is, you know, they were like, okay, fine, we'll make a hybrid. They made a good hybrid. Well, a bad hybrid, but an okay enough hybrid where everyone was kind of like, okay. You know, like, Hyundai passed the test. Meanwhile, GM and General Motors were crying, I don't know how. You know, that was their response. And Hyundai was like, oh, wow, I've been waiting to get into this market of cars for a while, and they don't even have their shit together. Oh, and you may be asking me, what was Chrysler's? None. They had none. They didn't make a hybrid. They didn't care. They weren't even in the game at this point. They weren't even a car company at this point. They were already failing. They didn't even give a damn, right? And this just solidifies how forgotten these hybrids were. All of these are Toyotas. All of these. Look at this. This entire page is all Toyotas, except for that Ford Fusion. Our little secret. Yeah, except for all of these, they're all Toyotas. Yeah, all of them, except for one Ford Fusion that was barely a hybrid and not even a good one when it came out. Then, right, there's still one. Also, this pathetic. Also, there was still one car company that also scrambled, that helped create it. That's right. One of the car companies that helped create the hybrid craze was rushing to make a hybrid Don't be mad at me. But it was a fail. No matter what you do. The battle between the Toyota Prius and the Honda Insight was bad. Honda Insight. INGHSIT 2010. The Honda Insight and the Toyota Prius were fighting it out, but Honda, man, they were crapping their pants. They came out with this little green runt hybrid. I can't find it in the Insight. The first Insight, and they were like, okay, great. We beat Toyota! And then Toyota came out with a practical sedan. So essentially, the Insight came first to America. The Prius was already in mass production by the time Honda even thought of the Insight. The Toyota Prius was the first hybrid. Well, not in history. The Toyota Prius was the first hybrid. The Honda Insight kind of, like, doddered along, and then they killed it off, and then they seriously regretted that. Like, they thought, oh, well, we failed, so Toyota's gonna fail. Nope! They came out with the second generation, blew Honda's socks off, so much sales that Honda could have been like, I want it. I want the sales. We're not doing good. So they needed to build a hybrid. They crapped out this. It's not a good hybrid. I'm sorry, Honda. IMA is not good. Integrated Motor Assist was never going to be good. See, it's an ugly interior. It's an ugly car. I'm sorry, Honda. You're not going to win the Toyota over with this. I would rather have the Lexus HS than this. I mean, you've got like this, like this incompetent face right here, and then all this basic controls, you know, and it's just a hybrid. Like, the Toyota Prius was made to bring it to market. Like, this is where the Honda Insight went wrong. The Toyota meant to be a hybrid as, oh, well, we know hybrids exist. We want to bring one to market. Honda was like, oh, yeah, hybrid's cool, dude. Let's make a really wacky one and hope it sells. It didn't sell. You want to know the only good hybrid that came out of Honda? The actual Insight. Oh, God. If Honda had come out with this instead of the Insight, they would have won. That's right. This car, phew, you can't tell me that interior is lovely. Heated seats, that navigation, mwah, beautiful car. Beautiful, 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 beautiful car. I loved it. I loved these wheels. I hated these ones. Honda, you had a perfectly good car. Why'd you have to do it? Why'd you have to make it weird, Honda? They make everything weird that they touch. If it's a hybrid in 2010, Honda had to make it weird somehow. And with these ugly clown wheels, that's exactly how Honda made this car weird. But it was actually a great car. And if it didn't have this ugly steering wheel, it'd be much better. So yeah, Honda would have won if they had made the Civic Hybrid the competitor and not the Insight. Because the Insight just made Honda not an option. That's all it did. And IMA wasn't good. It wasn't good no matter what piece of crap it came in. Especially wasn't good in Hondas now. No, I don't know. Was there a Kia hybrid? It's so Kia Optima. It's a sip of tea. The Optima wasn't good. That's it. The Optima sucked as a gas car. It sucked as a hybrid. It sucked. Ooh, I am losing my voice. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the video. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And we're ending on a real stink note, you know? So I will see you guys soon.